With interest rates worldwide being so low, now might be a good time to assess the structure of your home loan because it could see you saving tens of thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. And today I'm going to explain how. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about refinancing a home loan, why you should be making sure that you have the most competitive rate and what to look out for to make sure that this change will actually be beneficial in the long run. Refinancing in simple terms is when you pay off your existing loan by taking out a new loan with better conditions. And I'm going to talk about some of these benefits a little bit later in the video. This new loan that you take out can be with your current lender, or it could potentially be with a new lender. And in most cases, it will be with a new lender. And once you make the switch, the old loan will now basically just stop altogether. You won't make repayments to it anymore, and you will start making repayments to the new loan almost immediately. And the overarching reason why you would go about doing this is because you're going to save money in the long run by doing a small amount of work up front. Okay, so let's talk benefits. Getting a lower interest rate is not the only thing to consider when thinking about refinancing. There are lots of important considerations that need to be taken into account, and this will ultimately bring you to the decision as to whether or not it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing in terms of your savings rates, your finances, your setup, and the lender that you're going to potentially change to. However, reducing your interest rate is definitely going to play a key role in this decision process. Calculating the amount that you're going to save over the life of your loan is something that you absolutely can do, and generally speaking, it's going to be something worthwhile doing. If you don't know how to do this, I might make a video talking about it if I get enough interest and how to actually do it. Leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video. That would be super duper appreciated, but it will definitely give me an indicator as to if this is something that people would like to learn how to do. I'm more than happy to make a video about it if it's something that interests people. So leave a comment down below if it's something that you would like to learn how to calculate the amount of interest you're going to pay on a loan over the period of however many years. I might put it in a simple spreadsheet that you can just download and plug some numbers into. Moving on, the point that I'm trying to make here is that you should be able to calculate this number. And if you can calculate this number and it comes out to be, let's say, roughly in the realm of $10,000 or more that you're going to save over the life of the loan, I would absolutely be considering transferring, refinancing my loan to a new lender wherever the offer is coming to play if a certain number of criteria are met. And to add to this, reducing your interest rate is not only going to reduce the amount of interest you're going to have to pay over the life of the loan, it's also going to reduce your weekly, monthly, fortnightly, however you've got it set up, payments, which will reduce stress overall. It should, because you're going to be paying less over a period of time. Just one more thing to add from an interest perspective as well, and that is from refinancing, where you might have only had 15 years left on the loan. You might refinance to a new 30-year loan. So let's say you owe $100,000 and that's going to be paid off over 15 years. And now still that $100,000 is the loan, but now you've extended it to a 30-year repayment. It might be beneficial to do that for tax reasons. It might be beneficial to do that, like I said, to reduce those weekly, fortnightly, or monthly repayments. Something to definitely consider. Now, moving on to some of the other benefits, where there may be people who are just starting out with their loans, and there may be people who have had their loans for like 15 years. I actually have a friend whose parents had their loan for a very long period of time, and they still owed a significant amount of money on the property, and they investigated whether refinancing was going to be a good idea or not. And what they found was their loan was so old that they didn't even have access to things like offset accounts, which can play a key role in reducing the amount of interest you're going to pay on a loan. And they actually ended up refinancing and working out that they were going to save thousands of dollars over the next 15 or so years. It's a big deal. So having something like an offer from a new lender saying, hey, we'll give you an offset account, or there's no fees for transferring, there's no setup fees, there's no annual fees, there's no account fees. Waiving that type of stuff definitely adds up. Like if you think about a 30-year loan and you paying a $300 account fee over that period of time, so $300 every single year for 30 years, that's like $9,000 off the top of my head. Quick maths, yeah. But that's like $9,000 that could be waived by you simply finding a lender who offers better benefits. That's another thing that feeds into that savings amount. Another benefit, and this one's a little bit more complex, but it's absolutely something that people utilize, is to use equity in your home to go out and refinance a new loan to purchase another property. So people can buy another property by refinancing with their own loan to benefit them in terms of tax, to benefit them in terms of how much they can borrow, which might secure a property that is better than the one they live in now. It might be one that is going to become an investment property. It might be a nest egg for their kids. Whatever the reason, you can actually refinance, and there are ways to get around. It's a bit of a complex topic. I'm not going to talk about it today in depth, but the point is that's another possibility, another benefit, another thing to consider. If you're someone who's going to be looking to make another purchase, see if you have enough equity in your house, if refinancing and mashing those loans together would be beneficial to actually acquire another asset. Another big one to consider is if you have an LMI sticker on your loan. For those who are unaware of what lender's mortgage insurance is, I've left a link down in the description below to a video I've made talking about the topic earlier in the year, so feel free to check that out. Links in the description below, like I said. Like and subscribe to the video while you're down there. Really appreciate the support. Moving on to explain this a little bit further. Realistically, having that sticker on your loan is not a good thing. You want to remove that because it might be a guarantor LMI sticker. So let's say your parents went guarantor on a loan. You want to remove that as soon as possible so that they are not on the hook if you fail to make your repayments. It's a big deal when something goes wrong. People don't think too much of it because it's generally uncommon for it to happen, but it is a big deal. So what you can do when you go to refinance is get that removed once you have enough equity in your house. It is 20% in Australia. I don't know what it is elsewhere in the world. I should probably have checked that statistic, but realistically, it's going to be one Google search away. If that is something that is on your loan, you definitely want to work towards removing that. So refinancing can be a way to get rid of that. So with the benefits out of the way, let's talk about the how to do it now. And the how to do it is pretty simple. And there are a few steps that you should go through in order before just jumping onto the first offer that comes to mind. So the first thing to do before jumping lenders and going through all of that paperwork and that massive trail of time and effort is to check what your current lender is offering. What is the best deal they can give you? Because generally your current lender will most likely let you refinance if it's going to be in their benefit and your benefit combined. I personally call my bank every 3 months to make sure they are being as competitive as they possibly can be. I quote offers from other lenders and other banks, and generally speaking, I have actually reduced my loan outside of the Reserve Bank of Australia's mandatory reductions in interest rates. I have got them down 1%. And because interest rates are so low, it might not seem significant, but I've actually calculated it. It's about $35,000 over the life of the loan. And you might say, yeah, but all that effort for something so small. What effort? It's 15 minutes on the phone every 3 months. It's literally a 15-minute phone call while I'm sitting on the toilet. Like, it's so simple to have that discussion. And if they reduce that loan, you're saving thousands of dollars over the life of a loan. It's a big deal, something that is absolutely worth doing. And the key things to quote are better offers from other banks. That is one that definitely gets them riled up because they know that there's a better offer somewhere else that you might take. They're going to lose your business. It's not in their interest to lose your business. Let's see what they can do for you to basically retain you as a customer. The other thing to do is to quote if you now have 20% equity in your mortgage or in your property. So the value of my property has gone up significantly since I took out my loan. I've also paid that loan down significantly based on my weekly, monthly, fortnightly repayments. And this gives me, I love this word, it gives me leverage to basically negotiate on that rate, which ultimately has seen me reduce it over the period of time that I'm talking. It's been, 3, almost 4 years now that I've had that property. And then from here, if your lender is unable to provide you with a better offer, this is where you start to look elsewhere. Personally, I would be looking to get a minimum of 5 quotes from different types of lenders. And when I say different types of lenders, I'm saying get some from the big banks, get some from the small banks, get some from the online banks, and get some from actual mortgage brokers. These are all credible sources that you can absolutely go through this path with to get on a better rate. It's absolutely worth doing because it's not that hard. Most of these businesses have websites where you can get a quote online pretty quickly. Then you can call them up and read the fine print and sift through all of the details when the time comes. And because these companies want your business, this is where it makes my job a hell of a lot easier because I don't need to explain to you how this process actually takes place. They will explain it to you step by step because it's in their best interest to make the process as smooth a transition for both themselves and you as possible. So generally speaking, they'll do all the work. You just need to accept an offer that they've given you. And this is where you need to be very careful. And there are just a few considerations to take into account before we wrap up this video. The biggest thing you need to be aware of is that when you look at refinancing, you need to make sure that you have at least 20% equity in your property. Otherwise, if you do refinance, you may be expected to pay LMI again based on the difference you have under that 20%. LMI is an upfront payment. It's not tax deductible. It is something that literally is just you giving money to an entity to insure yourself because you are a liability. There's no more to that. Just make sure you have more than 20% and you should be good. The second thing is to absolutely make sure you read the fine print. I'm talking read about any types of fees, entry fees, exit fees, setup fees, account fees. How many accounts can you have? Do you have access to offset accounts? Make sure you know what you're getting, compare it to what you've got now, and make sure it's more beneficial. Like, this is the bit where you will be taken advantage of unless you read the fine print. Read your contract. It is a thing that is going to last many years, decades even. A 30-year mortgage is the norm today. If you knew that you were going to lose $50,000 over the next 30 years and you saw 50 grand in front of you just being burned because you hadn't done your due diligence, that's on you and that's going to hurt. So make sure to read what you're being offered, what the perks are, and even more importantly, what the cons are. What are the things where the bank, the lender, where are they going to screw you over? That is absolutely something to be paying attention to. In some circumstances, you can get caught out, and I really just wanted to put some emphasis on it. And this brings me to the end of the video. There are only two more things I want to touch on, and one is to reiterate. Do the entire calculation at the very end. Once you've done your research, you've got your quotes, you understand the fine print and the difference between the two, work out how much you're going to save. If it's more than $10,000, definitely consider doing it. It might seem overwhelming and complex, but it's baby steps. One step at a time will get you into your new refinanced loan, and you will reap the rewards over the 30-year period that loan is going to exist. I'm stereotyping because most loans end up being 30 years. You might even end up refinancing multiple times depending on what happens in the world. This video is being made basically at the end of 2021, early 2022. So realistically, it could be 2030 by the time you're watching this, and things could have changed dramatically. Just understand that the approach is very similar in nature. So you should have all the power to go out into the big world, use the big Google internet machine, and find these deals. That is the main thing I wanted to reiterate in this video. Most important thing you can do is make sure that you're going to get something that is more beneficial than what you originally had. And the last thing before I go, I swear it's the last thing now, if you did want to see a comparison of the calculations involved with how to compare your current loan and what you're expected to pay over the life of that loan versus refinancing and the different types of scenarios you might fall into, I'm more than happy to do it, but I need to see if someone actually wants it. So leave a comment down below or even reach out to me personally, and I will make that a downloadable spreadsheet that you can use to plug in your own numbers to compare your own scenarios depending on whatever they are, even just as an approximation. That's where I'm going to leave you today. If you were interested, feel free to leave that comment down below. Have a good day, have a good week. I hope today's video was insightful, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.